Folks, it is Friday. It's the best day that it's been for a minute. We got Schmodown matches today. Bogz are super excited. It's the hypest day. It's like Christmas Day, honestly. But first, we get to open some presents in the morning. With a little, we have the high ground. Throwing it back, a little top 5 list. Lightsaber battles, Bogz. Are you ready, sir? Are you ready to duel?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Big list. You know, this is kind of one of the first lists that I think of. You know, when we thought, oh, top 5, top 10. This is definitely a big one. So we've got 2 big guests coming with us. So yes, you know, big weekend as well for the Schmodown, like you said. So yes, definitely looking forward to it. I've got an interesting list as well. Can't wait to get into it with you guys. So
yeah, and this list is going to be covering all facets. And I looked down at my list and I actually realized I don't have any sequel fights. So Bogz, you'll be happy to know that. It'll be interesting if
I might
you
have a surprise for you, sir.
Yes,
maybe I do. Let's see.
All right, this is going to be fun. Okay. Without further ado, let's get to our guests. They are the co-hosts of the Really Trivia Showdown, the best minor league that you could possibly be a part of in the show, in the Schmodown world. It's, of course, Matt Thomas and Chris Anthony Lopez. Welcome to the show.
Yes. Yo, what's happening, boys?
What's up, boys?
It's time to party. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun show. This is just a kick back, laid back, relax, chilling all cool, you know, kicking it back, relaxing at the pool. And we're just going to be doing this thing straight like the old days. We're going to run this top 5, and we're going to go around the horn. We'll start with one of our guests. Chris, we'll start with you. We'll go with me, over to Bogz, then over to Matt, and we'll run through our top 5. And the rules basically are, if your, say, number 1 is my number 5.
So if you're top 2, right? If you're top 2.
Top 2, right? If it's a top 2. So if your 2 is mentioned as a 4 or a 5. If it's a 3, you know, just we can wait a second to talk about it, but, you know, whatever. But you say if it is.
We have the high ground.
Well,
okay.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
Matt's a regular guest, so, you know, he knows how it works.
Yeah, my first time on the program, so I don't know all the secret words for everything.
There you go, the code words.
You know, we gotta get a little bit of that Star Wars love in there somehow. So that's
he's not a knight in the order yet, so, you know, he's not united.
Exactly. Well, this is gonna be fun. I'm excited. Without further ado, let's get down to business, folks.
First of all, Colin,
okay.
we do, obviously it is Chris's first.
Oh, it is.
Chris' first show. You know, we always ask
him.
I guess, the regular question.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah, go ahead, Colin.
What is your Star Wars story, Chris?
Oh, what is my Star Wars story? Holy shit, that's one hell of a question. What is my Star Wars story? I mean, I remember vividly going to see Revenge of the Sith. That was my first Star Wars film that I sat through. And by sat through, I mean I was that kid in the theater that didn't sit through the movie. And I saw it vaguely. I didn't have any connection to it. But when I was older, when I was maybe late middle school, early high school, I watched the original trilogy on television. I believe it was on Spike, now the Paramount Network.
Yes.
And I watched them. I watched those TV cuts, and I thought, yo, these movies rule. Like, I don't know if I can cuss on this, but they freaking rule.
Go ahead.
Like, I thought Empire Strikes Back was the best shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, Empire was so dope to me, and to me, it's my favorite Star Wars movie. I don't know if that's the follow-up question, but to me, when I think of Star Wars, I think of Empire. And when we get to my list, spoiler alert, we'll talk about Empire. But Spike, at home, when I was in middle school, watching Star Wars, to me, not knowing anything about the universe, I'm like, this is awesome. This is really, really cool. And then getting to know people that love Star Wars as much as y'all do, because just to be frank, I'm the most casual, I mean, maybe like above casual Star Wars fan. So my list may reflect that, but I love getting excited off of other people's interests, and getting to hear y'all talk about Star Wars gets me excited and makes me care more about it. So it's the shit. It's probably the best franchise of all time. And God, Star Wars is dope. It's really, really cool. That's my Star Wars story.
Love
Easy as
it.
that.
We're
What's
gonna
that?
get into some dope stuff today. Like this is to me like lightsaber battles are what I grew up playing in my room. Like just like playing with the lightsabers, playing with the toys, getting all figuring out. Like I mean, I've had some crazy lightsaber
'cause
battles.
You stopped that as a kid, though, right?
No,
you
don't
carry
stop
that
it
on
a
as an
kid.
adult.
Well, you can do.
13 of these. 13
That's
of these.
yeah. I mean, you are the master for a reason. But without further ado, we will let our newest guest go first. So, Chris, what is the number 5 lightsaber battle?
Okay, so when I was pitched this concept, I was not given any type of direction to go in. I was just told top 5 lightsaber battles, or lightsaber fights. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I did a favorites list, and
That's what it is.
I didn't know if it was best, because best and favorites are 2 different things.
Sure.
I'd say it is in this case because it's all subjective. Everyone's gonna like one lightsaber fight more than another, and
100%. And with that being said, my 5th one is the fight, and I use that word loosely, between Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi.
Okay.
I don't have that. But,
I remember watching The Last Jedi, and this was the last time I was, like, when I left the theater to go see a Star Wars movie, I was enthralled at what I just watched. And this fight, to me, it was a battle between wit and rage, in my opinion. Like, these 2 characters are obviously so synonymous with each other, and Kylo is Luke's greatest failure. And I loved how Rian Johnson brought Luke Skywalker back into the fold with this movie, regardless of what people think about how it panned out afterwards or even during the movie. Like, I thought that Luke's sacrifice through his fight with Kylo Ren was well executed, and it added more to the Skywalker trilogy, or the new sequel trilogy, that I thought lacked, especially with the lack of cohesion between stories. And this is one of my favorite plot points throughout the whole sequel trilogy, if there are any great plot points in it. It's epic. It feels grand. It's a great culmination to already great movie. Yeah, I said it. I'm sorry if I'm coming in here with the hot takes my first time on the show.
No, we're on the same team here. The left side of the
well,
screen.
except for Bogz.
Yeah, Bogz is not a fan. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I know, and that's totally
let the man
cool.
finish. Let the man finish.
But I love this fight. I love this movie. And when I think of lightsaber, when I think of fights in The Last Jedi, I think of this one. And there was barely a fight. It was just a boy expressing his rage against his uncle, but they built it up so well. I had to put it at my 5. I did have honorable mentions. I don't know if we'll get to those later, but
We'll get to those later.
okay, cool. But I had to put this one on my 5, and I rewatched it for the sake of this. I'm like, yeah, this rules. Like, I love this. So that's my 5: Kylo versus Luke, Last Jedi.
So I'm
Bogz, I
wondering,
don't have
Chris,
anything
when
to say
you,
because I agree, so you could just go on
okay,
ahead.
when you were watching it, did you know about Luke not being there during the scene?
No.
When his footsteps didn't. Okay.
I when I watch movies, this may sound dumb because I watch movies all the time. When
Chris
I watch
gets
movies,
sucked in.
I don't pay attention to the
Okay,
little
okay.
things. I have to rewatch it to be like,
Yeah, I'm
"Ooh."
the same. I take it all in. I just enjoy the moment and the emotion
Exactly.
and stuff. Second time
So-
is when you're, okay, I noticed that. Yeah. I'm the same.
when Luke's standing there and Kylo's like more, and he and he just does the little dust up the door off the shoulder. I'm like, oh
Right.
hell! Like I popped like for like I was like, this is nuts! Like in the theater, I got excited and rowdy. And in Star Wars, like that's one of my favorite things to do. Like even in all the movies, there's something you can take away, and there's something that gets you amped. It feels like you're watching anime, and that's what I got out of this. And I didn't
Bogz
even
doesn't know what that's like either, so you've really lost him here. You're like, oh, you like The Last Jedi? Oh, you're trying to relate to anime. It sounds like I'm just talking to Colin.
So I didn't even think about the footsteps or Luke potentially not being there. But even when we find out that Luke wasn't there, I'm like, oh shit! It was an incredible oh shit moment to me, and like damn. And it almost came to like there was no winner. You can't say Kylo was the winner. You can't say Luke was the winner, depending on how you look at it. I like to think there is no winner. or if there was one.
Yeah, because I mean, you can say the same thing about Empire, right? If you look at the Empire fight, it's like who really won that fight? Because at the same time, it is Vader accepting that Luke is his son and spirals him down the path of I am still Anakin Skywalker and he still is inside. So, yeah, there is a bit of like who did win.
Because if you look at it from Kylo's perspective, like, oh, like Luke obviously wasn't there, he faded away, and Luke died. Like, okay, I'm like, I got what I wanted. My uncle's gone. Great. Or if you're Luke, it's like, he didn't hurt me. I outwitted him. Hopefully he learned something from this, which we obviously know he did. And the rest is history. So you can't say they both won. You can't say they both lost. But I like to think it was neutral. It was a draw. And it just did more for Luke in this case, I guess, if you have to pick a winner.
I'd say Luke won in the end because not only did he outwit his nephew, but he was able to help keep the resistance alive.
That too, even through death, like he did some incredible stuff, especially in that fight. That whole movie, I love Luke and what they did with him in that movie. And this felt like when Yoda came back earlier in the film and he was being a little jerk and being that playful Yoda that we saw in the original trilogy. Like this was the most that Luke Skywalker was going to do that. He'd be a little little dickhead sometimes. And that's how I rock with Luke in Last Jedi, and Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren had a great arc, probably the best arc in the sequel trilogy. Although he may be perceived as the whiny little kid, whatever. All he does is complain and he destroys things, so he doesn't like it. It's like, well, damn! Like, look at what he's gone through. Look at what he's done. And although I may not like how the character, the arc ended so much, or whose lips were locking with whose, I can't help but love Kylo up to Rise of Skywalker, and if with better cohesion at Lucasfilm, Kylo Ren, shit, he could have been.
Oh, we'll come to Kylo. Don't worry.
And for more on the cringiest moments of all time, please check out our video from 2 weeks ago. But yes, I didn't make my list, but mine are we all mentioned our lists are gonna be different. So mine gets into a bit more of some fighty, punchy, slashy, swordy, fighty stuff. Honestly, this one could have been number one for me. Darth Sidious versus Savage Opress and Darth Maul in the Mandalorian throne room. Oh my God. How are none of you saying I have the high ground right now? This is crazy to me. This fight is incredible. You catch Maul at one of his lowest points in the Clone Wars. It's just totally desolate there. Sidious comes in. I just called him City. City comes in.
Only his friends call him that.
He busts out the dualies. He busts out the double lightsabers. Like, he's ready to go. And he takes on both of them. Just handles his business. Walks in, pushes the dudes up on the wall, and then takes them down. Like, this is incredible stuff. This is, like, the best. I don't like Clone Wars. I don't have any other Clone Wars moments. I know I know that might surprise some people in this room. I do have a different Clone Wars moment though. From I
got you.
Clone Wars. Bogz, is this?
Yeah, so
I mean, this one's pretty good, right? I mean, I'm not,
Yeah, it's an honorable mention, definite. But yeah, I mean, it is awesome. I've watched this on repeat so many times. Like him. Sidious against Maul, against his brother as well. It's like a 2-on-1 thing. It starts when kind of they fight on Mandalore, right? In the throne room thing. Yeah.
In the throne room.
Yeah, exactly. So where obviously he fights Ahsoka later. So yeah, like he senses his presence at the start. Then you think that's his best chance to get revenge against the Emperor, but obviously it doesn't work out that way. The Sidious is in control the whole time. Kills his brother. Spoiler alerts. Kills his brother. And he laughs, he cackles as he does. And then Maul kind of tries to put it on him and he can't, he begs for mercy in the end. That's like some crazy stuff that you'll never, ever think you see ever. So yeah, some great stuff there. But yeah, Emperor, the Palpatine was in control the whole time. So yes, seeing him in his kind of full flow, his full potential with a lightsaber.
That's the only time we see it. That's
Pretty much.
really it.
He does have
when you
like
see
a
him-
vision thing with Yoda, right, in Clone Wars as well. That was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that was
like
cool as well,
this
but-
is full blown. Like he's like, I'm coming in here really to put my boy down. Like I mean, that's classic Sith shit.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Sith come in the room
The
and they're like,
samurai.
you ain't quite here, apprentice. And by the way, I've already kicked you to the curb. And I'm about to get my most powerful apprentice.
Like Chris,
ever.
you can just watch it. It's like a 4-minute thing. You can just watch it on YouTube, 4 to 8 minutes or something. It's just an awesome watch.
And
Just
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. There.
For this, like, so when this idea was brought to me, I'm like, well, shit, like I'm at a disadvantage because I haven't seen all the animated things,
Right.
and also my list will reflect that. You guys may be surprised, maybe a little bit later, but I this was one of them that I looked at, and I've seen this before, like I obviously like with my life somehow being revolved around Star Wars, and all my friends liking Star Wars more than I do. They send me lightsaber fights, and this is one of the first ones I'd seen from the Clone Wars or from the animated show.
Right.
And like, this rules. It's dark, it's grim, and I know that the Clone Wars obviously was a children's show, but this can be an example. Like, this is why like this show is not for children, because it's gruesome, and I guarantee if I would watch Clone Wars throughout its run, and one day I will, but I still wouldn't put it above the 4 that I mentioned or the 5 that I mentioned here. It is kick-ass though. It is awfully kick-ass.
I'm
Go
with
ahead,
it.
Matt.
Boggs, you're number 5.
Matt, anything you want to say about that one?
No, I just wish I thought of it.
We gotta
Yeah, no, honorable mention for me.
we're gonna be here for 2 hours. If
Yeah,
we
I know,
don't.
I know.
We gotta pick it up a little bit.
See, I know what I can get through mine easy. Trust me.
Okay, cool. So mine are all, just to clarify, mine are all kind of emotional ones as well. Mine aren't the best technically. I've left some of them out because I know you guys are going to cover them. So yeah, mine are all kind of the emotional moments. But my number 5, surprisingly, is from The Force Awakens, which obviously Matt and Colin know that I'm not the biggest sequel trilogy guy. So that's kind of my least favorite out of the whole series. So but I'm going to say the end fight scene in The Force Awakens. So when obviously Rey's kind of hurt on Starkiller Base, and then Finn picks up the lightsaber and he ignites Luke's lightsaber, and just the look of it, the way it's shot, the cinematography, the sound of Luke's lightsaber. Yeah, that's it. That part was in the trailer, right? Anyone hasn't watched John Boyega's reaction of watching that trailer for the first time, it is sick. He's with his boys there, and they go crazy on that moment. So yeah, he ignites the lightsaber. It's snowing. And Kylo has the kind of red lightsaber cackling in the snow, saying that lightsaber belongs to me. I was like, okay, we're going, yeah. And obviously he doesn't last though. He lasts a few seconds really. Like you can't hang with him. And then he takes that kind of that hit in the back, but he should have died in my opinion. But if you take that bad of a hit in the back, anyway. And then obviously the next lightsaber scene, in terms of Rey being there catching the lightsaber, for me. When I was in the cinema watching Force Awakens for the first time, I legit thought that was going to be Luke. Just out of the blue, just Luke Skywalker coming to save the day with his lightsaber. That would have that would been my best moment in all Star Wars. But it wasn't. It was Rey. So I thought, okay, maybe in the next movie we'll get some answers as to why it was her and stuff. But it was a cool scene. Obviously, she catches the lightsaber. You hear the Force theme, Luke's theme, and then she ignites the lightsaber as well. And then just that whole kind of emotional moment, being in Star Wars again, not seeing a Star Wars movie in the theaters for 10 years. That definitely touched some. And I do like the choreography in that as well. That's probably my favorite lightsaber fight in the sequel trilogy. But yeah,
That was
Choreography wise, I gotta go with the one in The Last Jedi with the guards. I mean, I count that as a lightsaber fight. I count that as a fight. Whatever. But that's me. I do enjoy this. This is really like Chris talked about the culmination of The Last Jedi. Like The Force Awakens is really like it is kind of a lot like A New Hope, where it's paced and it's like, all right, we're gonna get here, we're
It's
almost
top 3
sort
in
of
both
gonna
my
fight,
Wars.
and then we don't fight, and then eventually we're gonna fight at the end.
I know it's top 3 in both of my Star Wars lists. If I'm going off of my rewatchability list, it's number 2. If I'm going off of quality list,
what number you cut out there?
You said 3?
yeah,
3.
3.
Okay.
Yeah, it starts off fire. Like the first half an hour, 45 minutes of The Force Awakens is maybe the best Star Wars movie. and then it finishes strong. I think it's in the middle part. It's good, but it's just not as
Well,
emotional.
it's the setup film. It's the first one in the trilogy, so that's bound to happen.
Sure.
In
All right,
regards
guys,
to that,
you're number 5.
quick thing
mine-
before Matt goes, that was an honorable mention for me.
That was if we had gone on my just movies list, it was my number 3.
And as well, the shock of seeing Boyega, like, you know, him being the star, you know, in the trailer, seeing that, you thought, oh my god, they're gonna do it like a young black Jedi, like, oh my god, like,
Right.
obviously we did get it with Mace Windu, but not like this, not like someone who's
It was
you know,
different
a
than Mace
stormtrooper.
Windu.
I'm pretty sure if JJ had just said fuck it and stuck around for all 3, it's what you would have seen.
Right.
Yeah,
like
man.
at the time, the potential
Well,
of
he is
where
training to be a Jedi.
Yeah,
Like,
he is now.
Yeah.
like where Finn was supposed to, or where I thought he was going to go after Force Awakens. After that moment, I'm like, yes, oh my god, like this is we had Mace, but I hate the conversations of, but yeah, Mace Windu's there.
Yeah.
Not like, come on now,
Like, not enough for
exactly like one black dude holding a purple lightsaber per his request. That's not what I'm talking about. Like seeing Finn do his thing, it was like raw, and you could just tell like it was instinct.
like, come get it. I was like,
Right.
okay, let's go, man. Yeah,
It was
love
dope. Like it was definitely one that was pondering in my brain. Like I definitely wrote down Kylo versus Finn.
It's
Force
beautiful on 4K also.
that.
I
There
But
you go.
no, my,
Your 5,
my,
man.
my number 5. This I struggled whether or not to put this one on here because it's technically a training fight, but it's still one of my favorite fights ever in the series, and that is the Sabine and Kanan training fight.
Boom.
And Rebels.
That's a banger.
Okay.
Like just the emotion she has behind it. She's accepting the weight that is the Darksaber. It's just, it's insane.
Just to
And-
give it to someone that's gonna lose it.
Yeah, just to give it some. Well, we don't know if she'd lose. Like, and here's the thing: we'll touch on Mandalorian because notice they say in Mandalorian season 2 it can't just be given. So I think that plays into it that nobody ever really accepted her because
We'll get them answers, no doubt. No doubt.
So, well, no, that just Freddie Prinze Jr. and Tia Sakar's performance, even though it's just voice in that scene, it's just killer, and the emotion and gravity of it is insane.
She's letting out her frustrations, right, in that scene. You know, through all the training, all the responsibility she has, all the Mandalorian issues, and Kane is putting pressure on her, and definitely good scene.
I mean, that's I would have had it on my list. It's to me one of the quintessential Rebels moments that truly shows change on the show. That is like in an episode, you see somebody go through a real change, and you see Kanan learn something from the experience too. Can't ask for much more than that. We've made it through the 5s, on to the 4s. We need some high ground drama up in here. Chris, start.
So just so I can be clear, so we call out I have the high ground when we have
now. Us 3 are gonna call it if what you say now is in our top.
It's
2.
in y'all's top 2. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Well, just so I know going forward.
And then we table the conversation and talk about it.
Yeah.
Later.
Gotcha. I doubt there's no way this is in y'all's top 2. My 4th one is Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace.
Oh, definitely have the high ground there, sir.
Oh, okay.
Man, yeah, no doubt, man. I told you the emotional ones, man. I want that.
I underestimated the animated fights, especially off y'all's picks.
That's true.
No,
that's
I've
true.
got the high ground on that. No
Bogz
doubt.
has a high ground,
No
so
doubt.
then we move on
I'll hold it.
to.
Colin.
Well, actually, it's kind of my number 4-ish too, actually, because I wanted to do Qui-Gon versus Maul in the first battle on Tatooine. I love that battle on Tatooine.
That's good too.
But I didn't do. Yeah, we'll just table this conversation. Moving on to Bogz's number 4.
Okay, my number 4 is Obi-Wan against Anakin in Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, I have the high ground on that one. Over to Matt.
This is another animated one, actually. Obi-Wan versus Maul in Rebels.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I've not put it on because we spoke about it literally so many times. But
Okay,
go ahead.
yeah, okay. Go ahead, Matt.
Just-
For the billionth time that we've
Yes,
talked about this
I
fight
know
on the
that.
channel.
I know because I've talked about it with you guys on this channel, but just the fact that it's Maul's trying to use the same moves that he used to defeat Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan's like, nah, fuck this shit. I mean, it's, and I know a lot of people hate that it's so short, but I think that's what's so beautiful about it, is that just how a calm, steady mind won out, even if it took like less than 10 seconds.
Because he's learned, right? He's the one it shows that he's the master, right? He's the one that's picked up these traits, these tricks. He's learned from his master, even though it was all them years ago. He's learned from battling Maul over and over again. And obviously Maul hasn't, and that's his downfall. And that's why he's still chasing Kenobi, and kind of Obi-Wan hasn't moved on. But if you watch any behind the scenes stuff about this, watch some Filoni stuff, like the way he kind of sweats about this stuff is, man, it makes you more invested, more interested. So yeah, no doubt, Mike. Of course, fantastic scene. And deserves to be on. But
I've never also thought about the way that they're both the apprentices in the situation. I guess that didn't register with me as a kid, right? You're not really thinking about it like Maul is the bad guy of the movie, right? You're seeing it for the first time, you're like, oh, this is the bad guy, and you kind of forget like the stuff at the beginning, right? You forget like Sidious because it is a long movie, right? I saw the movie when I was 4 years old. I was like, this is a long movie. We got these dudes, we got all this racism going on in this movie, and I'm a little distracted.
Right over our heads.
It just went right over. It was right with that. It was like, oh, there goes the bad guy. But it's beautiful to then see that who is the who was the more evolved person, seeing them really both come from that moment as apprentices to what their arc was. They both had apprentices of their own after that. I mean, I would say Savage would have been it would have been his apprentice, died. Anakin, same way, basically dead. They're both struggling to figure out what life is like after being a master. And Obi-Wan seemed to, flirt with Qui-Gon on the Jedi Force Skype. So, whatever.
You seen this one, Chris?
I have. Like that fight. I remember my first time seeing it. I was in that camp, Matt, where I'm like, why is it so short? And this is supposed to be epic and grand. It's like years of build up, and especially after the first encounter in Phantom Menace. But then ignorant Chris had to educate himself on the journey that Darth Maul had gone from Phantom Menace all the way up until that moment. And
ignorant Chris was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, because Maul had talked about he'd been through some shit. Like, that's putting it lightly. And especially, like, we got to see Obi-Wan / Ben Kenobi and his arc and what he had gone through in the main series of films. But Maul thrived in animation. And I know we'll probably get to a little bit later when we talk about the Phantom Menace fight and where that character went on going forward. But, like, Maul, to me, it was a character that always would have thrived in animation anyway. But, my God. Like, it was just, talk about a perfect end to a character. Like,
I love the description of Maul as the guy who's pushing the boulder up the hill and will always be pushing the boulder up the hill.
Yeah.
That to me is he's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, and that thank you, Dave Filoni, for fleshing out a character and giving it its time.
George to bring him back.
Yeah, for real. We really, really appreciate it. We've already made it to the 3s. We blazed through them 4s because there was only one of them. Over to number 3 for you, Mr. Chris Anthony Lopez.
So I said I haven't seen too much of the animation stuff, but I remember one that I was shown that stuck out to me, and I've seen multiple times through because this was my first time really getting to spend some time with this character and seeing how she reacted when she saw her former master become who he became. My number 3 is from season 2 of Rebels. It's Ahsoka Tano versus Darth Vader. Hey, there you go. Let's chat, brother.
That was actually right around my 5. I couldn't decide between that or Sabine and Kanan. I'm like, I'm going Sabine and Kanan because it's so powerful.
Please, Chris, take it. Unless Bogz has the high ground.
No, I left it off. I knew you guys would talk about it.
Okay.
So,
this fight rules. Like, it's, to me, like, I love the contrast of styles. Little does Ahsoka know who she's fighting. Like, she knows who she's fighting, but she doesn't know who she's fighting. And I wrote down that the animated Star Wars stuff has really, for lack of better words, made it cooler. Made Star Wars so much cooler. Yeah, you can talk about politics all day, and you can get those lightsaber fights that we got in the original trilogy, but animations where these lightsaber fights really come to blows. Like, I mean, Colin's mentioned it with his 5. I talk about action-packed. Like, this one was the shit to me. Like how it was animated, the music, the lead-in with Vader and Ezra, then Ahsoka Tano showing up, and her just saying I'm not a Jedi, and it's like that moment fucking kicks ass. And when the reveal happens of it's Anakin, and she calls him by name, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna leave you this time." He's like, "All right, you're gonna die." and that's where you can fully tell like he's gone. It's not Anakin anymore. At least to Ahsoka, it's not Anakin anymore. And again, to someone who hasn't watched all of the animated materials, to me, like this sticks out. And talk about emotion, Bogz, when you said like a lot of your picks are emotionally driven. Like to me, this one, like this, I watched it maybe an hour ago. This was the last one I rewatched for the sake of this list.
Watching it right now.
Yeah, and I'm like this. It just brings like I got goosebumps all over again. It gave me chills, and I'm like shit. Especially seeing where Ahsoka Tano is going and how we're going to see more of her going forward.
Well, I will say this. I know you just said she didn't know. She actually did know that was him. And it was just the shock of seeing
what happened to him. Yeah.
That was more so what that was about.
Okay, let's talk about why this moment really slaps. Let us take the moment. Okay, hold on. Let me scratch the back. All right.
I heard that.
I know, that was gross.
So she gives up the high ground in this fight. Literally leaps off of the lightning Sith thing that's going crazy and just goes full-blown slash attack at my man. And he just takes it. Just takes it like a champ and then flips her over. And then he has the high ground and now he's taking her on and she's in the defensive stance. Matt Lanter in this episode should have been given an animation Emmy. Dude comes in for the one hitter in Rebels, comes in for one season, and just
For one line.
and just
Nice.
He's in it. He is in it a few scenes, in a few flashback scenes.
Yeah,
as Anakin. But this in this in particular, the way
Only
that they
opportunity
double dubbed
Vader.
and the way that they layered it over
they mixed
James
it,
Earl Jones's voice.
It was so good.
Oh my god! Like
And the actual score behind that as well.
Kevin Kiner killing it again.
Kevin Kiner behind it. Dave Filoni's like, "Yep, we got this. We got this. We got."
I mean, that's
this."
probably the best. I mean, we did do a top 5 Rebel scenes, but it's probably the best scene in
definitely
one of the
best
best
scene in
scenes of all
Rebels.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like
Of all
it's
Star
just
Wars.
pure fire. I mean, Chris, I'm interested. Have you seen that? Because it's a 2-part. Them 2 episodes are. That's the, like some of the culmination in the second episode. But have you seen them 2 episodes?
No, in full, no.
Go on Disney Plus.
Just you don't.
Sometime today. Just
you don't even need to watch
them.
Rebels. Watch them 2 episodes. Twilight of the Apprentice, part 1, part 2, and that's it. And then you'll be hooked on it.
It's so good, man. It's so good.
I told Chris before, I'm like, season 1 is a little bit tougher to get through, but season 2 on,
Once you crush the back half of season 1, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And I've definitely tried, but to me with those shows, it starts off because you got to obviously appeal to your audience on whatever channel you're going to be on. So I'm like, and I totally get it, but
Coming up next on Disney XD.
right. But with this fight exactly, like we touched on the music, the score is phenomenal. Like Colin, you touched on the just the contrast of styles and how far and how
That's what it is, because Vader's brutal, and she's like obviously with her technique with the 2 sabers. Yeah, it's like them at the prime.
It's so dope, and it really speaks to the two different eras of Star Wars that we have. Vader obviously representing the OGs, while Ahsoka being the
new era.
The face of the new era. Yes, maybe to some people's chagrin, depending on how you feel about Ahsoka Tano.
No, that's if you would ask someone that about 10 years ago, they would have been like, unfortunately. Nowadays, like, hell yeah, no,
And
that
they
is
should,
my face.
because Ahsoka. Just from what I know about Ahsoka Tano, she fucking rules.
She was one of the most hated characters at first, literally. They hate, it was the gatekeeping side of Star Wars too. It was because she was this teenage girl who was saying stuff like "Sky Guy" and all that, and people did not fly. It wasn't
bringing the kids.
Man, it really sucks when George Lucas makes something and people don't like it. Hey, 40-year-old men watching a Cartoon Network show. Shut up.
Right. It's like we got to remember where these shows were on.
It was around season 3 where people finally like, oh. This is
for me. It was the bounty hunter arc. The bounty hunter arc for me was when I was looking at the show because I was watching like trailers for it.
It was Mortis. The Mortis arc is what did it for me.
Okay, yeah. The first time, where's my boy? Did I put him away? I think I put him in his case.
Anyway, boys, we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah,
Cad Bane.
Yeah.
I saw Cad. Sorry. I saw Cad Bane for the first time. I was just like, oh boy,
who's that?
Who's that guy? Had to see him. I just had to know.
Bogz,
you're number
Tano
3.
Vader rules. It rules.
Okay, what was your 3, Colin?
That was
we
number
had
3.
the same 3.
My number 3 is Luke against Vader in Empire.
I mean, is it?
No one's list.
No,
No,
yes,
he has
but
it. It's probably his
I
I
two.
know it's since we're doing threes. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to.
It would skip a conversation, so you two just have the conversation now.
Okay, yeah. It's my number one box.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, no, we'll save it.
Yeah,
We'll save it.
then we'll
We'll
save
save
it.
it.
If
We'll
it's
save
your
it.
number,
Okay,
yeah, then save
alright.
it.
So, Matt,
Then
your
Chris has the high ground.
Well, all my
What's that?
thing. We're talking about mine coming up. It's my number 3 is Duel of the Fates. So,
okay.
I have the high ground.
well, of course, you and
Yeah, we already said it. Yeah,
We already
I got you, man. I got you,
Wait,
man. Go on,
yeah.
so it's Chris, right? Chris
So
is
now,
2.
Chris, you're 2.
Jeez. I think this one was already mentioned. Anakin Kenobi, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yes, that was my fault.
Yep, that's my. Yep,
This is
I
gonna
have
be-
the high ground. I have the high
Okay,
ground.
okay.
Sure.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Have the high ground.
Gotcha.
My number 2 guarantee is not on any of your lists.
Oh,
don't
take
be
a
so
drink.
sure about that.
Anakin Skywalker versus Asajj Ventress.
Oh, the
Indy
yeah,
Tartakovsky
Okay.
Clone
Oh,
It's
Wars.
good. It's good. Yeah.
That was my honorable mentions. I'm
Go.
like,
Yeah.
This for me
I was
I watched it for this
was
again.
one
rewatched
of the
Trying to-
coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
I grew up watching Samurai Jack. Suddenly, these Samurai Jack looking Star Wars things started popping up on Cartoon Network in little 5-minute segments on Friday nights. You're like, did you guys miss it? It just happened. I went and peed. Did I miss it? There was no DVR. Who knew what was going on? I found the DVDs. I obsessively watched the DVDs. The Art Trooper episode's one of my favorite things.
Yes.
Then this thing comes out, and it's bang, bang, bang. First time you see Anakin pick up a red lightsaber in to be was
Force
canon at the
picked it up
time,
too. It's just-
and it's the only time you ever see him get the scar in
Actually,
Clone Wars.
that is incorrect. He does not get it in that. We don't see him get the scar in Clone Wars.
You do in that Clone Wars.
No, you
You
don't.
see him get the scar.
I have it right over here. You don't.
Lightsabers, guys. Lightsabers.
Uh-oh.
But this is the fight. But this is
Yeah.
is him picking up the lightsabers, and you see him for the first time with the red reflection, and he goes
Yes.
full ass Sith on her, and he just goes. The Force is unleashed on her, and I'd watch him like over and over and over.
You're missing the best part, the most artistic part about that scene. It's when the saber clashes are happening, the clash, and you see all the fucking Jedi's just like have the look of disappointment. It seems like as Anakin's giving in to this hate, and I'm just like that. I tried to keep it to canon, otherwise that would have been my number 2 if I wasn't trying to keep it to canon.
I'll do whatever.
My favorite part of that is when he kills her at the end, and he's like screaming on the edge of the cliff. Like, yeah. It's like, what the hell? I even thought about putting the Grievous kind of moment with, because he has some good moments in this. In the what's his name, Tarkovsky? Yeah, with his kind of 4 sabers against. He kills a lot of them Jedi's. Like, I remember that scene.
In
Yeah,
like
they were awesome.
10 seconds flat, it feels like.
Yeah, like he steps on their heads and things like that. Like
The Shaggy
really-
Jedi. I will
Yeah.
never forget the Shaggy Jedi.
Yeah, no, there's some brutal stuff in there. But
It's
yeah,
literally
good-
Shaggy. It's crazy how it's literally Shaggy.
Yeah, it's on Cartoon Network. It's Shaggy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. That to me is just like I'll take that all day. The art style, the lightsaber fight, and the flashes of like Yoda, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan as he's beating the hell out of her. Like, it's lit. Not the ending I wanted for Ventress though, so I was really happy when they brought her back in Clone Wars. Bogz, your number 2.
My 2? My 2 is Duel of the Fates, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan against Maul.
Let's battle.
Let's do it.
Let's dance.
Oh, so
Just-
now it just gets because it's at everyone. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can't punt anymore. You know, we got to do it. So yeah, I mean, obviously the theme in terms of the score. We spoke about it with Ace last week, Colin. Ace, he was telling us like it feels like a hip hop beat almost. Like and the beats and stuff. And you can you do a little like skank to it and stuff. But no, like it's unreal. The pace of it, Moore's prowess of how athletic and kind of aerobatic he is. The choreography. This is the best choreography for me in any lightsaber scene. Like you forget as well, it's not like a stuntman. It's not like a sword master. It's Ray Park. And particularly the Ewan McGregor parts, when soon as Obi-Wan is killed and he comes out of that kind of force field, that 10 seconds there is like that's the best lightsaber stuff I've seen. The kind of when he kind of jumps over the double lightsaber and then he does like a forward and back thing, like that's the best lightsaber stuff I've seen. And like I said, it's it's Ewan McGregor doing it. So and it just looks so much smoother, and yeah, the choreography is awesome, and obviously Qui-Gon's death, and then yeah, just that whole part, particularly like I said, the score is electric, and when he unites the two lightsabers, and you're thinking like, so you're seeing this, and particularly when I was younger, watching obviously the original trilogy, and think, this is what it was like. This is what it was when they were in their prime. You know, so much kind of storytelling in your own head that you filled in. You kind of seen it come to fruition, and yeah, it kind of started off the whole Maul kind of legacy and era. But was this your one, Chris?
This is my 4.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Also my 4.
Yeah, so we were waiting for you to talk about it because it's not.
Oh yeah. No, I thought
it was my 3, so I was like, all right.
Yeah.
No, and I back everything you said, Bogz.
Yeah.
It reminds me of just like my childhood. This scene does, and yeah, it's like epic, man.
So I can honestly say that scene is what got me into lightsaber collecting. That specific scene. That's just because it was
particularly Maul's saber, right? You're like, look how weird that is and different.
So dope.
Not even Maul saber. So to me, that was the first time we really got close-ups of lightsabers.
Yeah.
And you got to see all the different little intricacies of them. So,
Sure.
like one of my first sabers is my Qui-Gon saber, which is over there. I have my Episode 1 Obi-Wan over there. Like those were 2 that were quintessential to me owning. Granted, I made sure the first one I ever owned was Luke's, the original blue one. It's Luke / Anakin Skywalker Legacy, whatever you want to call it. But I made sure those were 2 of my next purchases because of how much that scene means to me. And like I remember being in preschool and taking blocks and building them together with my friends and us trying to do that scene, and it was just
to me, obviously the Duel of the Fates it's one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic Star Wars score ever. It rules. Like what you said, Bogz, it's the best choreography, if anything. Why I place certain other ones over this one is for non-choreographical reasons, because obviously this one is the best looking Star Wars fight in my opinion. But what really did this one for me was Maul and what it did for that character. At the time, we saw him once. That was it. And we saw him that one time, and that was one hell of an impression to make. Like not only killing Qui-Gon Jinn, but how the character went out. And even though we thought the character had died or whatever the hell, like when he showed back up in the animated materials, it's like, oh snap! And obviously we saw the arc of that happened with Maul, but they made us give so much of a shit about Darth Maul based off that one appearance with very little dialogue.
It was public demand.
Exactly. Like
he was essentially the Boba Fett of
yes,
it's like a reverse Boba Fett. But
that is exactly that's actually the perfect way of looking at it. And I thought that it was one hell of an impression to make. Everything involved. That's some of the best acting that Ewan McGregor did in the prequels to me. I'm like, even though to me like he's the jam in those prequels movies. It hits different at the end of the Phantom Menace. And same thing for Liam Neeson, to the point where now we're like,
Neeson,
like, can we get more? Like, can we get more Liam Neeson, please? Which I
hope we will.
Like, I think we will too. So, like, Duel of Fates or the Jin Kenobi versus Maul, that fight rules. It's so good. It's one of the best parts, if not the best part of Phantom Menace.
No doubt.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say. You guys nailed it on the head.
I'm tapped out.
Yep. You're number
2, Matt. Right?
2, Matt.
Yeah.
Ahsoka versus Maul, Clone Wars Season 7.
All right.
That's another good one.
I know some people when it came out dubbed it as Duel of the Fates 2 because essentially that she had an opportunity to possibly save Anakin with what Maul was offering and turned it down just because, well, she didn't fully trust Maul, and understandably so. But also knowing the behind the scenes of how that worked, like that is those Maul movements, those are actually Ray Park. It's not like they just came up with animation. That is, they put him in a mocap suit, and it's just like, so that one's emotional for me from behind the scenes, what it means to the story, and just the overall of how it pans out. It's killer. It's also one of the coolest lightsaber fights I've ever seen. So,
agreed. I got nothing. I mean, it's to me the part that sets it apart is from the other animation fights is the detail that they put in with the suits, making sure that everything was to form, and it just makes it better, right? It just improves the quality of what they're doing.
What they said, and he's like, literally, we learned this when we did the your number 5, the Sidious versus Sidious versus Savage and Maul. Like, we realized we couldn't recreate Ray Park, so we went and got Ray Park.
Basically, not much more.
We spoke about it times, haven't we, Colin, this scene and stuff. But yeah, like especially like the first 30 seconds of that scene, and I'll never forget that lady's name. Her name is Lauren Makim. And I'll never forget her because she's the girl that does the mocap in it.
Mm-hmm.
I follow her on Insta and I just watch her random like somersaults or climb up walls or like just that kind of stunt stuff. She does a lot of other stuff. I think she was in Mandalorian as well. But yeah, like she is just seriously talented. Her and Ray Park doing their thing. Watch the backstage stuff. I didn't add it because I wasn't a massive fan of how it ended. You know, like her kind of holding more. I didn't really like that, to be honest. That just left a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. Just
you wanted to watch him fall from an unbelievable height.
No, just like how it ended. Just like it's a little bit of a
it's abrupt
thing for a little bit. Like I just didn't like how she could handle more at the end. Because they were so
that, like, just has to happen when they're weaving a story inside of another story, right? Like there's places that Maul has to be in terms of the time that is currently going on in this, right? Like when they line it up with the super cut.
Yeah, he needs to be like
he needs to be
captured. I understood that. Yeah, I didn't like what happened, and he's shouting like, "No, kill me!" I was like, "Oh, really?" Like,
no, right? He's like going crazy and he's like squirming and stuff, and it was cool to see the one of the cool things about the ancient Jedi like prison thing they had. Essentially like
for Force users and stuff.
Yeah, I guess that like nullifies. It was like kryptonite.
I don't know. Yeah,
does it? Because like I assume it does. Cause I don't think would have gotten out of there.
But yeah, Chris, what do you think of that one? And you can go with your one as well after this.
No, I mean, there's not too much I can add to it. I have seen this thing. It does kick so much ass. It's again going back to my point on the animation, really bringing out the best when it comes to Star Wars fights. And one thing I want to add about Ray Park for a second, because I'm pretty sure we might be done talking about Maul. I don't know if this ever has happened again, but actors who don't do the speaking roles for characters and how they still are extremely synonymous with said character. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know how many other instances there are. I mean, I guarantee there are some. But Ray Park with Darth Maul is probably the quintessential one, at least one I can think off the top of my head.
Tamara Morrison with the clones,
and that too.
One that's coming to my mind now, and I think it'll get bigger in time, is Sean Gunn as the body of Rocket Raccoon, because that's really who the cast sees as Rocket. And Bradley just does the voice, and he's not there with them. Yeah. So stuff like that where just occasionally
it's a testament to how important. Although you don't hear their voices, and we've mentioned this before, like with vocal actors in these shows, it's just a testament to. It's not just the voice behind it; it's the people who also work behind the scenes that you don't get to see that also make the character who they are.
Right.
And I know, like, this isn't Star Wars, but like with Kevin Conroy as Batman, people are like, he's not there physically being Batman, but the voice and the people behind him also deserve the credit as well. Ray Park being Darth Maul in the animated stuff, or at least doing the mocap for it, because you got to emulate what happened in Phantom Menace. So.
I think of David Prowse when I think that, in playing Vader, that is him. That's not anyone else. You know what I mean? His technique, the way he fights and stuff, whatever.
No, that's not him fighting.
Yeah. I know they have the Sword Master guys. What's his name? Bob Anderson, right?
Yeah, Bob Anderson.
Crushed it. Way to go, first round showdown question.
Oh, well, someone's been studying, throw me in there. Come on, let's go.
Wasn't in the last Star Wars match or anything.
Someone over here thinks it's only okay to not be specific about which Vader actor you're talking about.
Right. There's probably someone in the room talking to him, but but my thing is, like at least when I think of like, I would say that in pop culture and mainstream, I should say, that Ray Park is more of a more known name than David Prowse, 100%. Although, like, yes, it is awfully important we have to give credit to these actors who are being in these suits, because they're just as important to the character as the voice, because they're the ones bringing the character to life. Yeah, it wasn't James Earl Jones, it was David Prowse, and other folks as well, like Bob Anderson. But I'm just glad that they've gotten the respect that they've gotten, especially Ray Park for a guy who's only been seen in person once, and obviously did the mocap for the animated stuff. So,
all right,
Chris,
Chris,
I just wanted to say that.
You're number one.
Luke Vader Empire. Come on! Like to me, this is to me this is like peak. And when I first heard of this list, like, all right, what's my 2 through 5 going to be? Because my 1's going to be Luke versus Vader. It's probably, I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but this is one of the best scenes in cinema history. Like it's the best twist ever. And just the emotion conveyed through not only the actors on set, but through James Earl Jones's voice, how it was shot, how it was lit, and it was. I mean, no, I'm your father. That will go down in history. That when people think of Star Wars, people think of that.
Just remember, it's no, I killed your father.
That too, but like it was to me, I'm still enthralled by this fight. And although it's not what we have seen in the animation stuff, I talked about how cool that stuff is, and even in the sequel trilogy, like I thought some of the fights were cool there too. But when I think of Star Wars, I think of Empire. When I think of Empire, I think of this scene specifically. Like I will never not love this scene. I will always just be super enthralled watching it. I can pop on Empire as background noise, but I will sit my ass down to watch this movie end. And Luke Vader, it means the most to me. Talking about taking you back, like how I mentioned at the top of the show, I used to watch this shit on Spike all the time. This is what I'm talking about. And after years of misquoting it, like I finally, I still, I'm like, this to me, this is the Star Wars moment. Whether you're a fan of these stuff or not, or if you just know Star Wars as a movie franchise or as a franchise in general, like it's a pillar of pop culture, and this is a big reason why. Luke Vader, or Empire Strikes Back, to me is the best lightsaber fight.
It's my 3, for sure. Everything that you just said there. So not only the like you said, some of the way it's shot and the lighting, it's the fact that it's the set design as well. How they're kind of the part when he tells him the Force is with you, young Skywalker. He turns around and he's like Vader's on the steps and it's like a silhouette, and he ignites the lightsaber. It's awesome, man. Like, there's some of the best scenes. Yeah, some of the best scenes of all cinema, and it's like obviously. Vader, now we know obviously what's happened, and that we know that's Vader's learning that's his son. He's testing Luke into he's like a slow paced master, teasing his not only is it a newly trained Jedi, it's his son. Like it's so much more to it, and it's just like the impact on that scene that has on pop culture in general. The lightsabers look beautiful, and like I said, the set design is when like he he comes through that corridor, and like Vader's just like wailing in that corridor, and there's
eerie, it's grim, and it emphasizes
when people talk about darker, this is what they mean, like this kind of scenes.
It emphasizes the like Vader as a villain, just so we end up finding out that it's Luke's father, and
the whole time you just worry for Luke the whole time. He's so vulnerable, he's so untrained, and this guy's just in control. And Obi-Wan, they told him not to go, and he's just exactly. But he's still kind of risking his life, and what happens to him in the end? You forget he gets his hand cut off and tells him he's his father, and then all that stuff. It's endless. But what do you think, Colin? This scene?
Oh yeah, it's the banger. One of those I didn't put it on my list because I knew you guys would have it. It's iconic. What more can you say? I mean, the way that it's one of my favorite parts is the behind the scenes stuff where no one knew what was going on, right? No one knew. It was so kept under wraps.
Only James Earl Jones, the producer, Irvin Kershner, George Lucas.
Lucas and
Mark Hamill.
And Mark Hamill. Yep. So I mean that's that's got to keep it loose lips sink ships, and this ship did not sink.
Or it was when Kevin Smith was on set for episode 6 or episode 7. Loose lips sink starships.
Yes. True.
Where we at? Your 1, Colin?
Yeah,
you were my 1. Let's go. Anakin versus Obi-Wan. There's no stopping it.
It's time. Oh shit. Yep.
All right, listen here, folks. I'm gonna take you back. Colin, 11, maybe 10, 11 years old, maybe probably 10, sitting in a theater, watching this movie 8 times, over and over and over again. I would literally go to the bathroom right before, like right as him and Padme start talking. After I'd already seen the scene before, I'm like, all right, bet this is the time to scoot for a second because they're just talking. And then you come back. You got your popcorn ready. You got everything ready to go. You've done that yourself. And then it goes down in the DMs on Mustafar. Full on. You want to talk about best choreography? Sorry. I think this is it. The stuff you see in this, it's the same in Return of the Jedi. When you see Mark Hamill have it's a 9-year process of making the movies, right? Almost 9 years for them. Or probably more like 7. But like he gets better as a swordsman over time. Anakin as Hayden Christensen and Obi-Wan as Ewan McGregor get better as swordsmen at this point and are fully unleashed. It's like watching people dance. Like it is truly like watching beautiful music with beautiful music going off in the background. And you see like everything, the build up to the moment, Anakin's turn, then it's just woo! Just the whole time they're fighting on little tiny like lava catchers. Like I don't know what to do about this. Like this little robot's like, this isn't really but not my weight. And they start like shaking. They're like, all right, we got to jump from thing to thing. It turns into like lava frogger at one point. I'm like, what is going on here? When they circle each other, bro. Oh my god. When they're like, oh, you underestimate my. Like, oh my god, that is Oh, it's so good. I gotta go watch it right now. I'm out of here.
So yeah, I mean, I had it as 4. But yeah, like you're saying, Colin, like it's just an epic scene, and emotionally charged, of course. And this is, the culmination of that trilogy, of the prequel trilogy, leads up to that moment. I love how when they do circle each other, it's Obi-Wan pleading with him, even though he knows it's going to go down. He knows he's going to end up facing him. Padme's there hurt. One. Yeah, but he's still giving him that last chance. He's like, come on, they're like brothers at that point. And obviously it's the start of an iconic villain. But yeah, obviously epic moment. But yeah, it's just that the choreography thing for me for Duel of the Fates is it's just so simple. It's just Ewan and Ray Park, just simple, just going at it. This is like epic scale. Yeah, they're climbing up things on lava. Yeah, of course it's great, but I just love the subtlety of that.
So, Colin, you ever watched the Creating Darth Vader? I love that because you get to see the choreography as Hayden and Ewan. Like I like the behind the scenes.
That's my shit. Like watching them go at it on
especially the prequel
pad,
behind the scenes stuff is like sick.
And this is what I hate about Disney behind the scenes stuff in general. You have, and this has happened over the years. You used to get like filled, packed to the brims DVDs, like 10 hours of behind the scenes content. Now you get like an hour if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And
because the behind the scenes shit is usually shit now. Like it's not fun sets. I imagine those sets used to be fun and to show up to, and now it's like, is George Lucas gonna show up? Because that's pretty much it. Like the biggest party that people had on these Star Wars sets was like when it was some like when the princes showed up and they were stormtroopers and everyone was like, oh my god, the princes are here. Like, oh cool, great, awesome. Like, was that gonna make 15 minutes on the DVD?
The episode,
no.
The episode 8 behind the scenes doc is fantastic. That's like an hour and a half, 2-hour doc.
Yeah, because it's Ryan Johnson. He's the only fucking person on this thing that wants to make a film. Sorry.
All right, boys. Focus.
I'm getting angry now.
Great, Chris, go ahead, and then I'll do mine.
So this was my 2, Anakin and Obi-Wan. It's if Vader Skywalker from Empire isn't the moment from Star Wars, this one's it. Like, I mean, talk about not only the weight that it carries within the story that is being told, but the way that it's carried since from folks who may not live, breathe, and eat Star Wars every day like y'all do. You know what I mean? Like, people know this fight. People know this scene. And the one thing I want to emphasize that Colin just you spoke it, you told it perfectly, but it's incredibly well acted by the both of them, by Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. I'm still moved at Ewan because Ewan's the shining star of the prequels, and I love what he's doing here in Revenge of the Sith. Like the music hits, it's epic. I mean, and little did we know at the time that was gonna be the last big Star Wars movie that we'd get for many years. So that was one hell of a way to go out on. And it's damn. And Revenge of the Sith to me, like I mean, I'm probably not. Obviously, I'm not alone in this, but it's my favorite of the prequels, and to me, that fight is peak prequels. Like when I think of the prequels as a whole, I think of this fight, and of course, the Maul fight in Phantom Menace and pod racing. But this fight between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker is just epic, emotional, and those roundhouse kicks. Like, come on. Like the choreography,
the hair is great, everything. Yeah.
Oh my god, like it's when they just go at it on the table for like 15 seconds and it's just bare knuckle brawl, and then they both summon their lightsabers at the same time, and then they clash immediately. Like that shit slaps.
It rules.
It rules. Everything like that fight for every action there up until the loss of until like Anakin clearly loses the fight. There is an equal.
Why did he lose
opposite,
the fight? Then?
There's an equal and opposite reaction in the fight, and for everything. Everything has an equally cool like comeback, and it's so it's so.
Colin, why did he lose the fight?
Because I had the high ground.
There
That's
you
it,
go.
baby. Let's
there
go.
You go.
So my number one. Okay, Matt, anything to add there before I go?
Oh, they hit it all.
Okay, so my number one. I think it's the same as yours, Matt. I want to say because I'm pretty sure I've heard you mention it. So okay, wait. Why don't you say your number one? Because I think it's the same as mine.
Return of the Jedi Vader versus.
Yeah, that's it. It is. It is. But I'll go first. So yes, obviously, starting off when Luke's kind of looking over and Vader's kind of whispering. Sorry, Palpatine's whispering. Oh, it's a calm conversation at this point. With him and his father there. He knows he's his father, obviously. Luke's in his prime at this point. So this whole thing is, again, it's not about the action. It's about the emotion of it. And the whole time, this whole scene from that moment to the end, the whole background is, the humming of the Emperor kind of overseeing everything. Yeah, picture. There you go. And obviously he reaches for the saber, and yeah, it's just how they go at it. And obviously, kind of Vader gets the upper hand, and then he talks about his sister, and then he brings anger out of him, and then the whole time you think this is the culmination of three movies.
The time the music changes too, like when he mentions sister.
Yeah, it does.
It goes into this operatic moment, and you're just like, oh my god!
Yeah, like it steps up that is in emotion wise, and then and then obviously when he drops Vader, and he cuts off his hand, and then he sees it obviously as a cybernetic hand, and obviously he realizes at this point. I'm turning into my father. Yeah, I'm falling to the dark side. I can't give in to this. And it just shows his strength. It shows that he was right against Yoda and Obi-Wan in the long run. Obviously, in the short term, he took hits in Empire. But this, he was right. So he did sense the faith and the light in his father. So this whole moment and stuff, I literally get emotional watching it, and this is some of the reasons why Luke is my favorite character in movie history of all time, because he goes through this, because we've seen him as a farm boy complaining about doing chores 2 movies ago, and then we see him in this sacrificing himself for his father, and getting his father kind of doing what he does afterwards. But yes, this is the whole culmination of it, and plus I really like the green against the red as well, and against it's so dark, and again it's the music for me. There's that Vader throne, the throne room music with the Emperor, and the Emperor just slowly walking behind, there's cackling in the background. There's so much just spice to this stuff, man. And yeah, I love it. But it's your number one as well, Matt, right?
Yeah, it is my number one, and you actually hit on a lot of those reasons. The scene that always sticks out to me, cinematography wise, is right after he says no when Vader brings up Leia, because it's just dark and there's nothing but their shadows and the lightsabers, and just seeing the clashing and the emotion behind that alone, and how Luke's trying to hold back this entire time, because you can tell he is holding back, and it's just. Of
course, we get that move with Vader's lightsaber when he throws the lightsaber. You're like, what? I didn't know you could do that. Like, what?
Upside down in that scene.
It's like when Superman ripped the S off of his chest, and you were like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Well, no,
It's breaking the rules here.
That's always been the quintessential lightsaber scene for me. That scene is why Luke Skywalker's green saber is my favorite saber. It's beautiful. It's that entire scene Shakespearean, and I love it.
Yeah, that is also my favorite lightsaber. You know, I think I've told Colin this before, but watching Return of the Jedi first time as a kid, and he gives a signal to R2, and he launches it and he catches it, and when he ignites it, it's green. I was like, it's green. There's a green lightsaber. I could not believe they would. Like, yeah, I just always thought it was blue or red, right? You just don't even contemplate that it's a green lightsaber. Because he looks at it as well, right? He looks at it and he ignites it, and then he starts to whoop.
And then it kind of loses its luster when you find out the only reason it's green is the fact that it didn't work against the sky that it was shooting.
Yeah, the green screen, whatever. Yeah,
it was the natural blue sky, so like it blends in. It blends in with the sky. We gotta, George, how about we make this green?
Just leave it under the rug. It's still cool nonetheless.
Yep. Sure, whatever. And then it blows. Okay, well, we're gonna keep this green saber thing going forward.
Well, that's it. We did it. We made it to the end of the top 5 lightsaber battles in Star Wars. What are yours? What's your number 1? Did we miss some? We probably did. There's a lot going on there. We didn't even talk about,
any honorable mentions, anyone?
Rey and Kylo versus the guards in Last Jedi, to me, just has some stuff in it that is so visually, like, it is so cool. Like when Kylo throws one of them into the grinder, and then you see like all the
confetti going up. Yeah.
It kicks ass.
That's awesome. Ass. And when he throws the saber, she catches it, and she calls him Ben, and Ben throws the lightsaber, catches it, and you see the dude just drop behind, like
a hole in his head.
The hole in the head, like my god, like this is tough as nails, and then them both like. The Force, like whatever you think about the scene, but like them tearing the lightsaber apart is pretty iconic. Like it's kind of like the way that whole scene sets up. It's awesome. That was
my honorables. I'll go through mine quickly. So mine was it's a bit of a sweaty one. So like Maul against Pre Vizsla when he takes over Mandalore. Yeah, because you see the whole. That's the first time that I've seen a Mandalorian in his with all his armor and the Darksaber. He's using the fire thing. He's using the the jetpack. He's using everything and the Darksaber against Maul as well. Force user and stuff. There's too much fire there. And obviously I gotta give a shout out to Yoda and Dooku as well. Seeing Yoda the first time, getting his little lightsaber, I was thinking, no, this ain't gonna happen. And how he fights all the little somersaults and stuff. So that was super
adult
cool.
Bogz like, it's green.
Oh yeah, definitely. But Matt, any honorables?
Like we covered them. Rey versus Kylo, or Rey/Finn versus Kylo, and Ahsoka versus Vader. Those are my honorables.
I will name drop 2 for movies I'm not the biggest fan of. The whole Geonosis fight scene in Attack of the Clones.
Sure.
I feel like I just thought yo, this rules. Like all the lightsabers. Talk about lightsabers. Like
200 lightsabers raining
from the
sky.
Man. It's the only time in canon that we have that. Like so many. 20 plus, like a minimum. I'm saying,
and
so many hundreds of
time
Jedi.
between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker on any podcast with Christian Harloff, where Star Wars was brought up, and he would keep saying Jedi Wars, and he was like, "I want to see Jedi running at Sith," over and over and over. So eventually, I was like,
"It'd be hard.
Fuck it, we're gonna see it in this movie." I had just thought it into existence, and we're just gonna see it again. But see them all come down in the ships and with the clones, and everything seems terrible. Everything feels like everyone's.
And that's where we see Mace doing his thing, killing Jango Fett,
creating a villain.
Yeah.
And the second one I want to mention, from Rise of Skywalker, Kylo and Rey, towards the end of the film.
On the Death Star.
I like
Death Star against going.
On the Death Star. On the Death Star.
With the water and stuff. That
it was well shot. I just wish that was one of those ones I wish was longer and it needed.
And did yelling Ray. Ray!
Which time he does it a lot in the trilogy, in the sequence.
Right.
So.
It's one of my favorite parts of Rise of Skywalker. I remember the movie I was I'm not the biggest fan of, but that rules. And plus I just like the elements facing off against them while they're fighting each other. and the emotion that led up to that moment, like this, and the emotion that happened afterwards, with Kylo. So then, so it's really really cool.
Always definitely. I love the elements as well. Like that's something that definitely includes some sway in what makes a fight cool to me. The aesthetics as well. So that'll do it, folks. Welcome in welcome in to the end. Welcome to the end. Sorry, it's time to go home. Chris Anthony Lopez, thank you so much for coming on for the first time. We'd love to have you back. You were so much fun. Where can the fine folks find you?
Peeps can find me on Twitter at the letter C Anthony Lopez, or on Instagram at the letter C _ Anthony Lopez. You can catch my podcast For Chris's Sake, for FOR Chris's CHRIS apostrophe sake SAKE, wherever you find your podcasts. But when this goes up on Monday, I have a podcast. We're talking about Where the Wild Things Are. My buddy Connor Breedlove, and I have my review of WandaVision that'll be up on Sunday as well. And you can catch me with this guy all the time on Who Are They? Real 2 E's Entertainment on YouTube, and our show Spin from the Reel, our Schmodown reaction show. That's how we met these fine guys at the top of the screen. Just type in Spin from the Reel Schmodown on Reel, not Wheel, Reel, Spin from the Reel Schmodown on YouTube, and you'll find us on there.
Yeah.
Matt Thomas.
I mean, I'm on here
enough.
I'm on here enough. You can find me at WattMovies_Matt on Twitter, and then on Who Are They? Real Entertainment with Chris, and getting ready, finishing up, making some matches, and getting ready for season 2 of Really Trivia. So excited. So excited.
Nice. So excited. The other half of the Ultimate Dyad, Bogz. Sup? Doing anything tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. We're doing a bit of live stuff, bit of live stuff on John Rogue's YouTube channel. Yes, reacting to the Schmodown. I know some people, obviously, who watch us here don't know what that is. It's a trivia competition. We're going to have Laura Kelly live, Chandu Danapani live. We're doing a live show. Hopefully, you guys can join in as well, mine and Chris. So, yeah, thank you guys for coming on as well. Obviously, Matt's a regular, but Chris, we'll make you regular as well. But, yeah, thank you so much, boys, for coming on. And, see you all next week.
That'll do it, folks. You can find me at the _C Morris wherever I am sold on the internet right now. You can find me for free everywhere. But that'll do it, folks. Next week, maybe we do a little news breakdown. There have been some news stories popping up in the Star Wars world that can get a bit controversial. So maybe we can dabble into some of that stuff. And who knows? Maybe we'll bring back the game from last week, and we'll see who truly has the high ground. But always remember, folks, here we have the high ground, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Adios.